What's going on, St. Louis? You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah! AM. What's going on out there? My main man, Anthony Shaheed, is on assignment.
Yes.
But I've got my sidekick here to the left, though.
Yes.
Sister Felicia Hampton. She's the lady that puts everything together for us to make sure the show runs smoothly. And I want to say hello to her and welcome.
Good morning, St. Louis and surrounding areas. We're just excited to be here. Go ahead, like as always, get your pencil and your paper out or whatever your note devices are, because we have some great information. Also, make sure you head on over to our Facebook page, like, tag, share, and follow.
Please.
Yes.
Like it, share it, tag it, follow it.
Yes.
Like it, share it, tag it, follow it.
And don't forget to head over to YouTube. Yes, we are on YouTube.
Whoa.
So, yes, that's big. That's big.
You're doing it.
Yes, and so do make sure you follow Brother Anthony Shaheed. He is on special assignment, but you can head over to his Facebook page and be sure to follow him, as well as Taheed Youth Group. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Who else
and
we have
who else
there?
we got, babe? We got Who is Timothy?
Who is Timothy?
The main man back there on the ones and twos.
Yes.
With backup, self-close.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
good morning, good
handling
morning.
it.
Yes.
Gentlemen, right, where would we be without you? But I'm going to tell you, this week has gotten off to a terrible start. I mean, really. First, Sunday, had a shooting, officers involved shooting, where police officers allegedly have shot and killed young Mr. Daryl Ross, 16 years old.
16 years old.
It happened Sunday night. I would imagine what it says about 11:36 p.m. At this Shell station in the 2800 block of North Florissant. Now, they're still trying to get some information on that, and as well as we are too. So we want to try to be as objective about this as possible. But you know, it's always a shame when the police shoot and kill a young person like this. I mean, it's you start trying to figure out, wondering out loud, what happened, how did it happen, what did they do, and these are seasoned officers involved. We're gonna get back into that a little bit because we have some guests, but we want to pick this up in another segment later on in the show. But that's just one of the main things that has happened this weekend. 16-year-old Daryl Ross shot and killed by the St. Louis police.
And it's almost, if I can just say, regardless to how it happened, it's taken a scab off of a wound that has never healed, because, you know, we're on the, just coming out of dealing with the memorial for Brother Mike Brown, you know, and how people explain to me, when something happens and then it continue to happen, it's difficult for a healing to take place.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more, probably in the next segment. Not the next segment we're getting ready to dedicate to cancer awareness, which is always critical to us. But we're going to spend a little time on this issue with Mr. Ross. We're going to try to see if maybe next week we could have his family or some representative of the family on the show to drill down and get some more information on this. So hold the phone. The other issue that was really pitiful, I mean, really pitiful, was the election. Half of you, obviously not even half of you, what do we say? 3/4 of you didn't even know it was a damn election. You didn't know it got over your head because what happened? 6% of the eligible registered voters bothered to go to the polls and vote.
6%?
Wait a minute. 6%. Huh? Where's more than
Come on now.
It's damn. That's what it is. What happened? I'm still trying to figure it out myself. What happened? 6% of the it's 186,000 registered voters in the city of St. Louis. 186,000. Only 12,104 people bothered to go to the poll. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Now, with that being said, not blaming it so much on you. This goes straight to the feet of the candidates themselves.
Yeah.
People have to be inspired. People have to want to go to the polls. People have to be motivated.
Yes.
They have to be motivated to be for you. Mm-hmm. And we had two candidates, Jack Coder and Megan Green, that only 6% of this community bothered to go to the polls and vote. Says a lot about the candidates themselves, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, it says a lot about it, because if you're running for an office, you got to get out here. You got to knock on these doors. You got to show up at these places. You got to go to these neighborhood community meetings. You got to go to these churches. Mm-hmm. You got to go to businesses. You got to go to bars and lounges, and sometimes y'all don't want to go in there, but that's where you got to go. That's where the people are. That's where the voters are. You got to put in the work.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, and not to give an excuse, I'm wondering how many people actually showed up at their voter registration site and it was closed. Because remember, Senator Carla May did talk about they only had a certain number. She covered it on this show. There were only 5 or 6 locations that would be open for this special election. And I'm just wondering, it didn't stop 160,000 people, I'm sure. You know, but
first of all, there was very little effort, in my view, put forth to mobilize the community. I mean, where were the yard signs? I'm an old fan of bumper stickers. I don't see them that much anymore. But where are the radio? Where were the ads on the radio station? Where were the candidates themselves? Where were their people? I mean, the candidates, you got one person running for the president, that's Megan Green. Then you got another person running, and that's Jack Coder. But where were their people? I didn't even see their people out here. 6%. That's a sad commentary. 6%. 12,104 people, y'all. Only 12,104 out of 186,000. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, too. We're going to develop that. We're going to drill down, because I got some numbers, I got some charts and some graphs. I'm not going to bore you with that, because I know that's over your head. But I'm going to tell you, give you a little more information on that. The other issue we're going to talk about is, I don't know if you all even saw the article. You probably went over your head. But look, did you see the article where they talked about the private police forces and the private police forces that are amassing in the Central West End? It appears that about 14 upper-level officers in the St. Louis Police Department work for a private security company called, what is this company called? The city's finest. It's called the city's finest, and I guess some of the city's finest is working for them, because at least 14 ranking officers work for this company. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is it getting to the point where the wealthy get the security, and the people whose boats are stuck at the bottom get less? Our police department is supposed to serve everybody. But what about the fact when we have a private security firm that hires our police officers to work for their company in places like the Central West End mostly? And the Central West End is getting the benefit of extra security, where we get less. So we got to talk about that and kind of figure that out, you know, because I had 3 people come up to me and ask me about this. Freeman, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why is we have a private security, we have our police officers going to work for a private security company, and then at the same time, our police force in the city of St. Louis not necessarily doing its job. It's not necessarily doing its job. They cited one instance as somebody got robbed in the Central West End, and within 5 minutes, this private security company sent out a email or I guess a breaking news notice, and it was 17 police officers on the scene. Within 5 minutes, 17 police officers in the Central West End. Where are our people at? Where are our police at? Who's protecting us? We'll talk about that a little bit. All right. I would imagine it kept going on and on. That was a buzzer. I didn't hear it because I got into the zone on this police deal. So it's time for a break. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600 AM. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. Ho!
So are we talking as if it's Saturday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
And then, ladies, if you could just bring the microphone a little bit closer to your mouth, about 3 inches away would be good.
She didn't know she was gonna be on here.
Oh, no problem.
What time is it? Is that 11?
Pink
Hello.
table.
Hello? Hello?
Testing. Did you do a testing?
Pink table. Did she send it or do I still need
Don't
to?
worry about it. We got
Okay.
it right here, baby. We're going to make it easy. Saturday, 17. All right. Felicia, I'll let you introduce them. All right, let's do it. Two. What's going on, St. Louis? Welcome back. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. We've been talking about some of these issues that we're going to get into later. All right? Talking about the election, talking about private police, talking about the Central West End police privatization. And we're talking about the 16-year-old that got killed. That is just catastrophic. Mr. Daryl Ross, and we're going to talk about that. There's a lawsuit against the city of St. Louis for public information. The city is falling down on its job releasing public information to us. Why? What are they doing? Why are they trying to hold the stuff back? We want the information. All right, but before we get into that, we have some guests in the studio with us today, and I'll let Sister Felicia introduce them.
Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so you know that coming up October the 1st, we have Sister Strut, and it will be the 13th annual Sister Strut Breast Cancer Walk. And we just wanted to bring someone in who not only understand breast cancer, but is a survivor and is offering her own. She wants to bring her own and have been bringing her own information and sharing her story to bring awareness to it. We have here the Pink Table Organization. My good friend, my sister, Stephanie Lee, is in the building this morning.
Hey!
Woo! And also we have with her sidekick. Everybody need a sidekick.
Everybody got on
and
somebody.
Stephanie have several sidekicks,
Road
but
dogs.
this morning we have with us Sister Shay Barrow. Welcome to the
Welcome.
Freeman Bosley Jr. Show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes. And so we're just going to delve right in. We want to talk about, Stephanie, tell us about your organization, the Pink Table Organization, and how you got started.
In 2006, my sister was diagnosed, Pamela Faye Lee, with breast cancer. And it was devastating. We lost her to this deadly disease.
When she
and
died?
She died in 06.
Okay.
And
She was diagnosed in 06?
No, she passed in 06. She
I
was
got you.
diagnosed in 04.
Okay.
Just 2 years?
2 years.
Wow.
2 years. And we didn't have anybody to talk to. It was, our family were big. We're from Kinlock, Missouri. We didn't have anybody to talk to. We was lost, devastated.
Yep.
Then 4 years later, I got the news that I had breast cancer. And when they called, I said, okay, what's next? Let's go. I'm ready to fight. Because just because you get diagnosed with breast cancer doesn't mean it's a death sentence. It's all in your attitude and how you walk that walk. So I had to do harsh chemo.
What kind?
I had to do really, really harsh chemo. It
And
was,
what kind of chemo is that? Harsh?
I think it's called black. I can't remember the exact name. That's the chemo for what you get sometimes.
How many times a week?
I did it once a week. I did chemo for a year though. I had to
A
do
year?
this. I had to do this one chemo for a year, but I did it 18 rounds of chemo.
18 what?
Rounds. So every Friday I had to go get chemo for 18 times. And
Every Friday,
every Friday.
you'd have 18 rounds?
I would go 18 times.
18 times?
They call it 18, so different times. Every Friday for 18 Fridays.
Okay.
So once a week for 18 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. I'm sorry, I'm
No,
nervous.
it's all right.
We got you.
So let's just, now that we're talking about, tell people, a lot of times you hear chemotherapy, people, oh yeah, but what is it? And just how is it
It
applied.
is poison. That's
Yes,
how I
it
look
is.
at it. So I had a port put in, and they would administrate it through the port. I didn't feel it. It was harsh, but when I was diagnosed, I talked to God just like I'm talking to you guys, and I told him exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to look sick. I didn't want to throw up because I hate it. I just told him exactly what I wanted, and I told him his promise he made me. He made me a promise. Anything that I need or want, ask and he shall give. And I went with that. So I would get my chemo on Friday. I would go in Sam's at 6 in the morning to work. It did not knock me down to my knees.
It did not.
It did not.
Okay.
My sister was sick. I seen so many people sick from this. Truly blessed. I'm a miracle walking because it didn't touch me, even though I had to go through the treatments, and I did radiation. I did radiation for 14 weeks.
After the chemo? or
Yes,
before?
after. After they removed the cancer, then I went into chemo and then radiation.
And I think you said the radiation was the part that was the toughest for you?
Yes.
Tell us about that
So
experience.
my doctor, I love all my doctors at Mobab. So Dr. Dyke showed me this machine before I even started my chemo, and he said, "This is the machine we're gonna do your treatment." I'm like, "Okay, I can stand up and do that." It was a stand-up machine. That wasn't the case because I have claustrophobia. As you know, I didn't get on the elevator, right?
Exactly, yes.
So he
And guys,
comes.
this morning, coming to the studio, she
Right.
decided to take 3 flights of steps versus getting on the elevator because of the claustrophobia.
Good exercise.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
imagine now you're going to go
Ex-
through chemotherapy,
exactly.
radiation therapy,
Yes.
14 times.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
So he came to my first treatment, and I'm like, "Dr. Dyke, what are you doing here?" And he gave me a story, and I'm like, "Okay." So we walking into this room, and I said, "This is like a vault." And he said, "A vault." He said, "No." We walk in, it's this huge machine. Every day I cried when I left there. It was
You had to get in the machine?
no, I had to lay on the table.
Okay.
But I knew I was in a vault, that they had to close that door. And I was stuck in there for 10 minutes, which seems like 10 hours. And this particular day, I misdialed a friend on the phone, Karen. And so when they finished, she came out and she said, "Stephanie, who you was talking to?" I said, "My friend Karen." She said, "Phones don't work in here." I said, "You don't know who my father is. He makes things possible." So from that day on, every day I would talk to my second oldest sister, Sandra, while I get my treatment, because I could lay the phone down in front of me, and I'm laying on my stomach, and me and her talk and pray, and we'll talk about her granddaughter, and it got me through. Support is important.
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't have a support team, it
Absolutely.
is so important to go through this. I had an awesome support team from day one. My mom supported me. I spent the night with her every Thursday, and she would get up and cook breakfast, and then I go to my treatment. But I ate whatever I wanted, and no sickness, no illness. The aftermath is what I didn't know about. The pain, my sister never complained, and it's a lot of pain going through that chemo. So if you're going through chemo, a good thing to do is flush your system out. No matter, I did that the whole time. They was administrating this.
And how do you do that? Flush your system out. What are you doing?
I did detox water, went to one of the health stores and got things, but I just do it, and I still do it to this day because I still say the aftermath is something else.
So how long have you been cancer-free?
7 years, praise
7
God.
years. God's perfect number.
7 years going on 8, and I
Wow.
am blessed. And when they told me that I had cancer, and I talked to him, I said, "If you heal me, I promise I'll tell the world." I'm telling the world.
Amen.
I'm telling the world because it is awesome to still be alive. And
So now you have decided that you're having this event.
yes,
You've been doing events for a while, because I remember covering an event for you where you went out and you had a photographer and other friends that were diagnosed with cancers, all from Kenlock, if I'm not
All from
mistaken.
Kenlock.
Yeah, tell us about.
and that's the thing. So many people from my neighborhood I grew up with have passed from some type of cancer. So it was 3 of my closest friends, no, 2, I was the third, that did this photo shoot. I just wanted to do a photo shoot. So I've been doing a photo shoot once it was 5 years, I did a photo shoot every year. I do mine this fall. I haven't did it this year. But it was to show that we still living, we still alive.
Still
and
moving.
we still living life and enjoying. So one of my friends, Sabrina Griffin, she did the Preventage. She lost her mother and her sister to breast cancer, so she did the surgery to prevent to get breast cancer. And so she's going on 6 years. It's as if God put her on hold for me to get through my treatment, and then once I was done with my treatment, it was full force for her to go through her surgery and me to be her support like she was for me.
So now, when you have these treatments, like at a certain point, like maybe after 2 or 3, or do they come back and report to you that we think it's shrinking or it's going away, or do they give you some kind of update in terms of the progress or lack thereof?
So with mine, they removed the cancer. They removed the cancer. I didn't have to have surgery and have my breast removed. They removed removed the cancer. And so once they removed the cancer, I was not supposed to do chemo. I was only supposed to do radiation.
Okay.
And I got the call that one of my tests came back negative, and they wanted me to do chemo. And I'm like, no, that wasn't what we talked about.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to talk to Dr. Lee. Why do I have to talk to him? I'm not doing chemo. So I did end up talking to him, and he explained, and of course, I cried because I didn't want to do chemo.
Wow.
My thing about chemo was that I was going to throw up. That was the only thing. I didn't care about losing my hair. I did care about my eyebrows, but I didn't care about losing my hair. And I just did not want to do it. And when he talked to me, he said, we just want to make sure we didn't leave anything behind. And I appreciate it. I had an awesome team at Missouri Baptist Hospital.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
The Pink Table Organization, for those who have just tuned in, we thank you. We have with us this morning Stephanie Lee, the owner and founder of the Pink Table Organization, and she's with one of her, we call them trusted sidekicks.
Road dogs.
Road dogs, Miss Shay Barrow.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to just bring Stephanie in to talk about her breast cancer experience, as well as a brunch that she's having today, a day of self-love. And to my understanding, you started with one person, I guess, was it back in June, and now you're up to 7?
Up to 7.
That you are giving support to, you're giving back
Yes,
to. Tell us
yes.
about that.
So I get this call. I had been talking to my niece, and she was having issues, and I'm like, you need to get that checked out. So we was
When you say
together-
issues, what kind of issues?
breast issues. She
Okay.
felt something. So when she told me that she was diagnosed, my world crumbled, because this is somebody that's always with me. She would be here with me today, but she had her surgery, and I just don't try to put her in that position right now, pulling on her. And it devastated me, that she had to go through this. And when I say she's a trooper, that's my niece. She walking that walk like I did. She hasn't been really, really sick to the point where it's just awful, but she's doing very well now, and she's healing. She's healing. She's healed. Yes. So after that, then it's like it's just started rolling. I met a young lady 6 months ago, and I was telling her she needed to go. She felt or not, you got to go check yourself out. And so she did, and she has breast cancer, and she's part of my sisterhood that I have with the Pink Table. I have a 19-year-old. That pierced my soul. 19.
Yes.
My God.
Yes.
And so Saturday, we just finna love on them. And
So now what are you going to do on Saturday?
so Saturday, we're gonna honor
This
those.
morning.
Yeah,
This
this morning.
Yes.
Right.
This morning.
Correct me.
You're going to honor?
Yes, we're gonna honor the women that have gained their wings. And what's ironic, 6 of them are connected to me. and one was a young lady, and she's old enough to be my mom, but she was always checking on me while she was going through her chemo and her breast cancer treatment, and she passed. And of course, I told you my sister Pam, and Shay has an aunt, which is Janice. She passed, and then my neighbor is all Kinlock. 6 of them are from Kinlock, and so, and I keep saying that because I feel like that something wasn't right in the neighborhood
Well, let's think about Kinlock. Kinlock said right outside of the airport,
Yes.
where they drove the airplane straight
Yes.
over our neighborhood, and those toxins from that airplane
Yes.
came down onto our neighborhood.
And we was
Let's
right
talk
there.
about
Yeah.
Kinlock, how Coldwater Creek shimmy through
Yes.
Kinlock.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about Kinlock when we were outside playing, and they would come and spray something. They said they were killing bugs. We don't know
Yes,
what
we
the
don't-
toxins were.
Exactly.
Right, so we have to say keep saying Kinlock, because somebody out there in Kinlock didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That what happened and what was going on, and the toxins, the environmental toxins that Kinlock that we were exposed to.
Yes.
It's an unbelievable amount of people that are diagnosed with breast cancer, and just cancer in general
Yes.
from Kinlock.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have 7 people.
Yes, and so today we will celebrate those 7 ladies and love on them. A day of self-love, and what way to do that is to love on them, because when you by yourself, that's the loneliest part
Yeah.
at night once you go home from your family, and
Yeah.
that's when you really look in the mirror and say, wow, I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or I'm really in this thing, and
Yeah.
Lord help me to get past this. So we want to love on them and be of help, of a call. One needed this thing to protect her when she had her breast removed, and we bought that for her. We make sure we're there for her financially. That's what my goal is, and that's what I plan on doing, loving on them.
Did you do you think some of it might have been hereditary, or how do you when you look back and you do a reflection of what your life was, is there anything that you come up with that you think might have contributed to it?
Let's talk about that. My sister and I have 2 different fathers.
Okay.
So my sister had breast cancer, I had breast cancer, and I have another niece that I lost to breast cancer on my dad's side. So I don't have the gene. I
What
believe
would you say, the gene? A
it's
cancer gene?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I believe that, like Felicia said, something that they was dropping on us in Kinlock, and I live right down in the bottom where they fly over us to get to the airport. I was right there, and I believe that has a lot to do with it. I can't say for sure, but that's my belief, and it's just ironic that so many people have lost their life to cancer, whether it's lung cancer, breast cancer, throat cancer, all that.
My mother.
Yeah.
My mother had breast cancer, and we kind of attributed it to her smoking, because she was I would say she probably smoked a pack a day, but she smoked. And even when they found out that she had the cancer, the doctors told her to stop smoking, and she wouldn't stop. My mother and her sister would be over at the house drinking coffee in the kitchen. It's funny when I think about it now, but I come in the house and they'd be sitting in the kitchen. This after she has been diagnosed now. Her and her sister would be sitting in the kitchen drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes all day. That's what they would do, and talking. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did. But my mother just couldn't give up the cigarettes.
It's addictive.
Yeah, it is. But we miss her every day.
I know.
Every day. But I'm glad that you're here telling your story, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories similar where everybody went through this.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a thing.
And not only, we always focus on the women being diagnosed with breast cancer, but men can get breast cancer. So today we will have Tim talking about his journey through breast cancer. He's 10 years cancer free, and he gets to tell his story today. And I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that
No.
men can get breast cancer, and that rate of developing breast cancer increases if your mother had breast cancer. Then
Really?
yes, it increases for men. And see, men don't do, and we're not going to take up this segment with that because we have another segment in October coming up doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, just to bring more information to you all about that, because we want to put the knowledge out there for our men, for our sons, our uncles, our
Yes.
brothers, our cousins. Okay. So we want to talk about that number does increase. I do want to just say we're down to our last couple of minutes, and before we leave, are you accepting tickets this morning for your event?
No,
Okay, so we're closed.
Yes.
But you can take donations.
I could take donations
Yes.
all day.
Give us that
Put the
information.
information out there.
So you could cash app it to $MOSTEP 30.
Say it again.
$MOSTEP 30.
All right. All right, so you can send that donation. Again, this is Stephanie J. Lee with the Pink Table Organization.
And the event starts at 11
You got something
a.m.
you want to add to this? What bring you out this one? I do apologize.
Well, why don't you let her introduce her friend?
Please.
So this is my cousin Shay. She is awesome. The things that she does, she has a lot of herbal tea that helps with neuropathy. Like I have neuropathy, have issues sleeping. She has those type of things, and of course, she makes jewelry, just different types of things. She's an artist, and she's awesome at what she does.
All
And she's
right.
here with you today.
She's here with me this morning.
Well, that's what's up.
All right. Well, we're down to this last little bit of time. Just want to say thank you all for being on the show this morning and spreading this awareness. I do I know that you will have an awesome event. It's from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. today.
Yes.
No tickets. We do have Brother General
Janera Wilson.
Wilson, who sings the national anthem all over the place, which just happened to be Stephanie's nephew,
Yes.
will be there today providing that entertainment. So
Yes.
shout out to everyone that helped put this together. Mayor Bosley, I'm going to give it back to you so you can close us out.
It's going to be a great event.
Yes.
It's going to be a great event.
It
Good
is.
and a worthwhile cause.
Yes.
Come out and get some food. Have a brunch.
It's a
Yeah.
brunch.
All right.
Good food.
All right. Hey, everybody, it's time for a break. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. We'll be right back. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. Oh. What's going on, St. Louis? Welcome back. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KATZ 1600 Hallelujah AM. I'm here with Miss Felicia Hampton.
Good morning.
That's right. And we've been talking about all kind of different things, but we've had some good conversations, and we're getting ready to segue into something else. And so I'll let Sister Felicia tell you about that.
Yes, good morning, guys. Again, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is next month, and that they're going to have the Sister Strut on next month. Tomorrow is the last day to register. The 18th of September is the last day to register for that Sister Strut. But we're going to kind of just transition, because we know breast cancer is one thing that we battle, but we also want to talk about breast cancer in the children. And this morning we have with us Brother Lathan C. Ferguson, who is the Area Executive Director for St. Jude's Children Research Hospital. And he is with us on this morning to talk to us about the walk that will be taking place and the fundraiser that they are having. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. And you have a guest with you this morning?
I do have a guest. I do have a guest. I have my better half with me, Shalana Scales Ferguson, Esquire.
Yes.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning. So tell us about St. Jude and what is St. Jude? What do they do? Because I know someone out there do not know.
Sure. Wow.
A lot
So
of people don't know.
You know, it's interesting. So St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is 62 years old. St. Jude has been around since 1962, and the mission of St. Jude is that no child should die from cancer, right? No child should die in the dawn of life was what our founder, Danny Thomas, said. So just to give you kind of some context. So when St. Jude was first created in 1962, the childhood cancer survival rate was 20%, right? Since the creation of St. Jude and all up to today, so the childhood cancer survival rate is north of 90% due to the work, the research, and the care that St. Jude has been able to
Yes,
provide.
it is.
Right. But the other thing about St. Jude that's really special from others is that not only does St. Jude care for its patients at our hospital, which is located in Memphis, Tennessee, but all of the research that we do is shared freely across the country to all other healthcare centers and hospitals and child care and children hospitals, so that they can treat children using St. Jude protocols as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And I'm sure here that the family never receive a bill, so this is free service?
It is, you know, it's again, so I've been with St. Jude for about 7 months now, right? And so I've had people ask me since I've begun my role is that accurate? Is that true? Or is that, you know, kind of a ploy to get people to donate or give to St. Jude? But it is actually very true. So no family ever receives a bill for care, travel, or food while their child is being treated at St. Jude.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
And I'll give you a little bit of, so if you think about it, so the average cost of the most common cancer, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, the average cost of care for treatment of a life cycle of a child is around $203,000. That's just for the treatment.
Give us the name of that cancer again.
Acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Okay.
Okay, and a family will never receive a bill from St. Jude for that treatment, as well as for the travel to Memphis for that treatment and the food and things that they consume. Because the goal of St. Jude is, as a parent, you should focus on your child getting healthy. You shouldn't have to worry about where you're going to get the money from to pay for that treatment or anything like that. So,
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a lot, $200,000.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about the clinical trials. Many times with clinical trials, the representation of African Americans or minorities is not present. Do you see a shift in that in reference to the numbers with St. Jude in the clinical trials?
So I do see a shift in that. So again, as Mayor Bosley stated, a lot of people may not know about St. Jude, but when you think about St. Jude, and a lot of people have seen the commercials, you see the advertisements, what they don't know is that, and this number is an approximate number, it's not an exact number, but about 58% of the patients at St. Jude are African American.
That's okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You see, I'm speechless
Yeah,
over it.
when the commercials, a lot of times you generally just see a white baby.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on, and that goes into a whole lot of depending on whether or not, if they know target marketing, if they recognize their audience and
Okay.
stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, that's true.
But the other side of that is a lot of people know St. Jude for the pediatric cancer treatment that we choose, that we treat, but they don't know that we do treatment for sickle cell research, which really predominantly impacts the African American community,
Absolutely.
and other terminal diseases that impact pediatrics, so children, right? So whether it's ALS in children, whether it's sickle cell, whether it's cancer, all of those things, all of that research is being done at St. Jude. But that goes to and then I'll give it back. The other thing that makes St. Jude unique is we're what I call 3-in-1, right? So St. Jude is a research hospital, it is a charity, right? And it is it's a research, it's a hospital, and it's a charity. Those are the three. Right, so we're able to do the research that we utilize in the protocols in our hospital right there on site, and we're a charity. So instead of giving to a charity that then gives to a hospital, we're all three.
Awesome, awesome. And that 82% is given back for the research and the treatment of donations. So we got 13% is fundraising, and 5% to administration. That's important to note.
Exactly. So a lot of times, people want to know where their dollars are going, right? So
absolutely.
if I'm giving to, and I have a background from nonprofit leadership and management, but if I'm for every dollar, if I'm giving to an organization, and 50 to 60 to 75% of every dollar is going towards administrative costs,
Which
then
in a lot of instances it is.
then you're not really impacting the cause. But
Yeah.
but kind of to your point, right? So when you think about it, 82% of every dollar is going towards research,
Beautiful.
right? And when you think about the other 5% that goes towards administrative costs, which is nominal compared to a lot of others, and then 13% goes to fundraising. And so one could ask, well, 13% going to fundraising, that could be a lot, right? But when you think about the fundraising that we do, which is why we have our walk run coming up, is what allows families to never receive a bill, right? And so you got to use something to make something, right? So we can't do it off of nothing, but so that's where that 13% of every dollar, so 13 cents of every dollar goes towards fundraising. But if you think about it from that standpoint of that fundraising is what allows families to not have to worry about how they're going to pay those bills when they hear that phrase that no parent ever wants to hear is, your child has cancer, right? So.
Well, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that information. And I just want to add that met Brother Lathan just last weekend at the Epsilon Landlord Charitable Foundation golf tournament.
Yes.
And you were on assignment then.
I was.
He had St. Jude. I mean, you enjoyed the golfing and everything, I'm sure, but he had the St. Jude information posted up, sharing that information, which is what made me say, okay, come on over to the Freeman Bosley Jr. show because we need to know this. And so we got a chance to hear about that walk. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so every year, so annually, St. Jude does a walk run, right? And the goal of the walk run, everything that we do, 100% of our proceeds go towards the hospital, right, from a research standpoint. So on September 24th, downtown at Ballpark Village, we are going to have our 2022 St. Jude walk run. And so, we would love to have everyone in the city that's listening to our voices come out and participate with us. And so it's easy. And the beauty of it is the registration is free. It doesn't cost a thing to participate.
Yes.
You just go to stjude.org/walk St. Louis and register. And you can register as an individual. You can register a team. And how we raise funds is we encourage individuals, once they've registered and made a team, we encourage them to do peer-to-peer fundraising. So whether they're tapping into their network, some people will do different activities. So they'll do like a pub crawl, or they'll do a golf tournament, or they'll do a trivia night or something like that to raise funds that they donate to St. Jude in lieu of their walk team. And that's how we raise the funds. But at the same time, it is to bring everyone out to have a good time. And we're on the tails of Taste of St. Louis, right? So when the walk run finishes, Taste of St. Louis starts in the exact same spot. So
Okay. So I want to go back just a little bit. the funding that you're raising through the through like Epsilon Lambda Charitable Foundation, you say 100% of that goes to the research?
No, I want to make sure we don't cross the two, right? So
Thank
the
you.
Epsilon Lambda Charitable Foundation, which is the charitable arm of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Epsilon
Yes.
Lambda chapter. St. Jude, I participated in the golf tournament, and they allowed me to have a St. Jude table because I'm always working to spread the word about the walk run and our national partnership. So I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but we have a national partnership with all NPHC D9 organizations.
Okay.
Right. And so as my role, a lot of people didn't know that St. Jude has a presence in St. Louis, in Missouri at all. So part of my role at the golf tournament was to create awareness and let individuals know that we're here.
Okay.
All of the proceeds from the walk run is what goes 100% towards the hospital.
So no
Right.
administrative fee, no fundraising.
Exactly.
Just 100%. That's awesome. And I know that you all are partnershiping with the Pretty Poodles, the Sigma Gamma Rho, and they're also,
How do
doing.
kids get
Thank you.
aware of the opportunity?
For St. Jude?
Hospital, yes.
Yes. So there are actually a couple of ways that individuals can become St. Jude patients, right? So
Okay.
it is one through physician referral.
Okay.
So you go to your primary care doctor. Unfortunately, they find a lump or they find something. They figure out that your child has, one of the worst type of cancer, whatever. They say, hey, we're going to call St. Jude.
The doctor does.
The doctor does.
Okay.
Second is self-election. So let's say, you take your child, you get the information, and there have been a lot of patients that say this was their story. The doctor said, we don't know what to do for you. And as a parent, you're like, I'm not accepting
Right,
that,
that's
right?
right, that's right.
So a lot of parents will
That's
then go
unacceptable.
online, do some research, and they call St. Jude themselves, share the information that came from the doctors, came from the physician, and then St. Jude will say, come on down, right? So those are the main two ways that people find out or get admitted to St. Jude.
Yeah, and probably just routine lab work. Many times people just have that routine lab work, and then they see that the lab values are off, and that triggers more exploration, and they find out simply that. I want to look at some of the numbers here, though. You talked about the acute lymphoblastic leukemia. 1964%, today 94% survival rate,
Yep.
based on the research and the treatments of St. Jude. Hodgkin's lymphoma, a lymph system cancer, 1960 was 50% survival rate. Today we have 95% survival rate. I'm going to go down and skip down to this neuroblastoma. Back in 1960, a 10% survival rate, and today we have 75% survival rate. And that is a solid tumor. That's what a neuroblastoma is. And this last one is Ewing sarcoma. It's many of them, guys. We had osteosarcoma, which is a bone cancer.
Yep.
20% survival rate. Today we have 70%. I see the numbers are kind of, we're not all the way at the 94% with many of the cancers, but they have all improved. The one here with 5% for the urine sarcoma, which is a bone cancer, is now at a 65% rate, based on the research and the treatment of St. Jude's. That is phenomenal. I wish we could just clap it up this morning.
Yeah.
Clap it up this morning.
Yeah, I mean, so
Because that's a scary situation. I remember a family, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
A family had a young baby, I want to say 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere, just a grade school, I'll say that for sure. And they wanted the child to come in and get treatment, and the family was refusing that treatment. And literally, family service was called, and they removed the child from the home. We
So
all was
that he
like,
could
wait a
get
minute.
treatment?
They took the baby from the home through family services. You see this baby screaming and crying, and the father could do nothing, the mother could do nothing. And this was a Facebook viral live. And it was like, oh my God, we felt kidnapping, right? Because a lot of times that people don't understand that there is, medicine does work. Yes, we have some situations. I'm a registered nurse, so I've seen it work. We have some situations where people have come into the hospital and, hey, the doctor just messed up. The healthcare system, we just messed up. But I have seen medicine work. And what happened when they took that child from the home, kicking, screaming, and hollering, a viral Facebook page with everybody saying, kidnap, the baby ended up coming back home after treatment. But the state had to make the family provide that treatment. And to my understanding, the baby is still alive today. Tell us about St. Jude and the changes you're making.
Wow. Now, see, that's the first one I have heard of that story. That is, but I will tell you. So, and I'll address it's. I've had an opportunity, and I've been blessed to talk to many families who accredit St. Jude for still having their child with them today because of the treatment they received. The harder conversations I've had is, so when you think about that 1 out of 5 that doesn't make it, right? That's a harder conversation to have because I'm talking to this family and they're sharing their story with me, and they're like, our kid, you talk about, above 90%, 4 out of 5 or a survivor now, but there's that 1 out of 5 that you talk to that it's like, it just tugs at your heart, right? But when I hear it from their lens and their eyes, and they talk about how grateful they are for St. Jude, because had it not been for St. Jude, they wouldn't have had an additional 2 years, 3 years, 5 years with their child. It puts life in a whole different perspective for me, right? But to your point, what really, for me, getting a chance to see it in action, what really makes it work at St. Jude is that the researchers and the clinicians are on the campus together, right? They're there together, so you're getting real live research, real live medicine that that can be utilized to help save these children.
Awesome.
So, and the other thing I just have to say is, what's special about St. Jude is we're not a regular hospital. And what I mean by that is, if you're in Memphis, which is where our hospital is located, and if anyone ever has an opportunity to go visit the hospital, I encourage you to do it. But, if you had just a broken leg or a broken arm or, the flu or something, you can't go to St. Jude to get treated. So I want to make that clear, because there's also another conversation that we're not going to touch on today, but when you talk about healthcare disparities, especially among African Americans, but because we're focused on pediatric cancer and terminal illnesses, that's what we focus on, right? So we have our hospital in Memphis, and we have 8 affiliate clinics across the country, which a lot of people don't know. One of those clinics is here in Missouri, in Springfield, Missouri. We have an affiliate clinic in Springfield. But again, because of that, we specialize in terminal pediatric illnesses, right? So you can't go for what you would go to a normal hospital, just, and get treated at St. Jude. They would send you to another hospital in the vicinity. So.
Excellent.
We only got a couple minutes left. What are any points that you left out or you forgot to mention? We want you to be able to get out your message and talk about exactly what it is that you want to do.
So, the beauty of it is, and I will say, and I'm going to give you this nugget. I haven't done it anywhere else. So, of course, the walk run, right? Okay. So we want people to register and participate in the walk run. We actually have a gala that's going to occur in February at the, get this, Centene Soccer Stadium.
Okay.
Right.
A gala in the stadium?
In the stadium. And so really what we want to do and what I want to do is let the city of St. Louis know that we're here. Let the state of Missouri know that we're here. And for anyone that is interested in learning more or volunteering or getting involved or making a donation, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or my office, and we're happy to engage and participate.
Give us that contact information.
So the best contact information I'll give is just I'll give mine for my office, right? You can always go to the website stjude.org, or you can contact me. My email address, is it okay if I say it?
Yes, please.
Is my first name Lathan, Lathon .Ferguson, FERGUSON @ ALSAC .stjude.org. So Lathan.Ferguson @ alsac.stjude.org.
Awesome. And I'll put that information up on the Freeman Bosley Jr.
Yes. On our
Facebook page, guys.
yes.
That walk is September the 24th. Last day to register for the event is when? No
The
deadline?
23rd, no deadline.
No deadline.
We want
Come
you
on
to come
out.
register and come on out.
Walk-ups are welcome.
Everybody's welcome out. Thank you so much, Brother Lathan, for being on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. I
That's
greatly
some good
appreciate
information.
it.
Good information. Thank you so much, Sean. Well, that's quite a deal,
Yes,
St.
sir.
Jude.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know a lot of that. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. It's time for a break. Keep it on lock. We'll be right back. Quit playing.
Quit playing.
Oh, welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600 AM. Boy, we've been having fun. We've covered a few topics and had some conversation. Just people from St. Jude just left. Always informative. And what you didn't know, a lot of you, is that Danny Thomas, the old actor, movie star, started St. Jude. All right, and he started St. Jude because there was a hospital that refused to provide treatment to a black child. Now that story was just told to me. I really didn't know that. But when I was little, I used to hear Danny Thomas on TV all the time promoting St. Jude Hospital. I never knew that that's how it started. So that's just some helpful information for you. You know, we've talked a little bit. We had some people in here talking about breast cancer awareness. That's always a very important issue. You know, my mom died of breast cancer. She had it, wouldn't stop smoking, and it metastasized to her lung, and we were off to the races from there. And so it just progressively just took over her body, and me and my sister had to watch that, had to be part of that. I mean, it was there is no I in team. It takes a team of people to take care of one sick person, you know, and families have to rally, have to organize schedules and all of those things just to make sure that that person gets the proper care. We did that with my mom for 10 years, me, my sister, and my mother's sister. But those are stories that you don't want to have to tell anybody because nobody wants to really go through that. But during the time that we had her, we loved her, still wishing that she was here. And so since my mother's not around, hug your mama for me. Kiss your mama for me. Tell your mama that you love her for me because I can't do it. Mine's not here. But love her because when she's gone, I'm telling you. Remember when you say, Mama used to always tell kids, y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone. That's a true statement. Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this election. That's what I really want to talk about because I sent you the email. Felicia, could you get it? It was this email.
You want to try to send it to me one more
This
time?
no, I'm not sending it to you no more. I sent it once. That's it.
See, it didn't come.
Okay. Well, look, this election, last Tuesday's election, out of 186,000 people, 186,000, only 12,104 cast a ballot. Something is wrong with that picture. If it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable because I don't think we've ever had 12,104 people to vote in a citywide election. And this wasn't just like something dull. This wasn't a proposition. It wasn't a referendum. It wasn't dealing with the school board. You know, sometimes these are races that draw very little interest. This was the president of the Board of Aldermen. I'll say it again. The president of the Board of Aldermen, the election was Tuesday. And only 12,104 people voted. Yeah. I can't figure it out. But for statisticians, that's 6%. 6% of the eligible voters in the city of St. Louis bothered to vote in this election.
A moment of silence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Now, Kara Spencer I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm saying Kara. She's running for something else. Megan Green got 6,497 votes. Jack Coder got 5,607 votes. Now, see, this is a case where your one vote does make a difference because he lost this race by 890 votes. 890 votes out of a pathetic 12,104. Yeah. But what it really comes down to, though, is the candidates themselves. People that are running for office, they've got to get the fire in the belly. And from there, with that fire, you motivate others.
Yeah.
You motivate others by knocking on doors, which obviously nobody did. By passing out literature, which obviously nobody did. By printing up yard signs, which maybe some did. And then making speeches, going around the neighborhood meetings, organizational meetings, block units. You got to start a fire in the belly of the electorate to make them feel like they're motivated to want to come and help you. This is a sad referendum on these candidates. I mean, you could only, are you saying that Megan Green could only inspire 6% of the whole, of all the people, all the registered voters in the city of St. Louis? Are you saying that Jack Coder could only encourage or only motivate 6% of the people in the city of St. Louis? What is wrong with this picture? Hey, now, we get another bite out of this apple. The election now comes up again in November. So I'm saying that not necessarily for the people, I'm saying it for the damn candidates. You better
Megan,
get
and
it.
she according to the article that I'm reading, she did acknowledge that she said, I got work to do, you know.
She got work to do.
Yeah.
So does Coda.
Yeah.
You better get to getting. I'm telling you. Because, see, this is not only is a reflection of the people on the city of St. Louis, but it's a reflection on your ability, on your inability. On your inability to motivate these people. These people are, now, people get registered, and they're supposed to go out and vote. And in some respects, you even got a duty to vote. But if nobody is inspiring you, if nobody is motivating you, if nobody gives you cause for concern, and you say, I want to support that person, then that's on them. That's on the candidate. At the end of the day, it's on the candidate. I ain't never heard nothing like this. Something's got to be wrong.
6%.
6%. That is a sad commentary.
Yeah.
It's a sad commentary. And the other thing is, this was an election that I think maybe for the first time where the wards, the wards have been redrawn.
Yes.
We don't have 28 wards anymore. The wards have been redrawn down to 14. Yes. And there was no Democratic Party. There was no Republican Party. There were just two names on the ballot. So this is this progressive stuff. So we see what the hell that got. Yeah. We see what that got.
Yeah.
It got 6%. Yeah. Go tell that to the people. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. 6% out of 186,000. I just cannot. I have to keep saying it because it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that these candidates could not motivate more people than that. Now, let's get into some numbers. Let's see, did you get it yet?
No, sir. It could be an internet issue, but
right.
I did not get it. I do want to say this is also just making sure it didn't come through. I want to say that this election, too, came right after the August 28th, that new process where you had to have a a driver's license that was a valid Missouri state ID. So it came off of that. It also came right in the middle of them changing where you could vote. There's so many different puzzles
Well,
to
are
this.
you trying to make excuses for the
I'm
people?
not making no excuses. I'm saying that when the November election comes, we need to be making sure that the people are able to vote. I'm not making excuses for the candidate, but it's time that we make sure that we bring awareness to what's going on.
And that is the job of the damn candidate, too.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and tell the people when the election is and where you vote.
I agree, but
you got to get out there and tell them the thing has changed.
Definitely. But we are the show that keep the people in the know.
Who?
We're the show that keep the people in the know.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm trying to put you in the know. I'm
Yes.
trying to let you know. But if you don't know nothing else, know this. Out of the 14 wards, I have to keep going over this. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is truly ridiculous. Now, the first ward had a 6.8% turnout. Mm-hmm. The second ward had a 9.7%. The third ward, not the third ward I live in anymore, it's gone, but it had a 4% turnout. The fourth ward had a 5.6% turnout. None of these wards had 10%. None of them. They're all lumped in there together. 6%, 5%, 4%. 14th ward had 3.6%. You got a situation where, say for instance, Megan Green and Zach Coder, 264 and 163, that's 427. In the whole ward, 427 people voted. In the 14th ward, in the whole ward. Now, what is that?
How many?
You get 14. You get that many people voting in a precinct, not the ward. Come on now. Where was Jack Coder? Where was Megan Green? Where were these people? I don't understand their strategy. Maybe the strategy was just to get through this one and get ready for November. You think that might have been it?
Well, someone made a comment on that on the article saying it wasn't a real election, and so if the people took that as to be true, that could be a part of the reason. I'm not making excuses, but that was like it's not a real election.
Well,
so it was a real election. It was a special election, and only 6% of the voters turned out.
Well, somebody said to me the other day that if you only got 12,104 people voting out of 168,000 people, 187,000 people, I'm sorry, is that really an election? Is 12,104 people, is that really an election? Really?
And was there any advertising on this election? Because I wouldn't have known if Senator hadn't mentioned it last week. I didn't know.
Well, the candidates are responsible for that.
Oh, it falls
Yeah,
back on the
It
candidates.
falls back on the damn candidates. All right, let's leave that alone. We'll have somebody, hopefully, the strategist, that come on and talk a little bit about that next week. This private police deal, this is the one that I didn't think that people were going to make too much hay out of it, but folks are actually coming up and talking to me about this. I thought it would have went over your head, but some people have not gone to sleep at the switch. Freeman, what about these private police officers? What about this company, they say? What about this company called the city's finest that are hiring off-duty police officers? What about the fact that their majority of them are located in the Central West End? What about the fact that the majority of the people in that Central West End area are well-to-do? So does that mean you get what you pay for? Huh? We pay taxes. What about our police? But this company has hired 200 off-duty police officers. 200. And the majority of them are coming from the city of St. Louis. So that means you go to work on the city's police department, and then when you get off from work, you go work for this private company. So how much effort are you putting forth when you're working for the city's police department? How many crimes are you really solving? How many thefts are you really investigating? How many burglaries are you showing up at? Or you just wait until you get off on your job where you go out and be with the rich people, where there's not near as much crime? Yeah. You go to your cush job. You go to your cush job and leave the rest of us here trying to figure it out. So I would imagine that the mayor might have something to say about this, and the comptroller, and the president of the board of aldermen elect. But people are talking about this, and it's raising some eyebrows, because it is clear that the people in the Central West End who got the money get the protection. Is that what's happening here? Is that what you signed up for, Lou? I don't know. I don't know. But we need to take a look at that. We only got about 3 minutes left. Well, we got a little bit more than that, but I wanted to get into this 16-year-old young man named Daryl Ross. Shot Sunday night, 11:36 p.m. Shell gas station at 2800 in the 2800 block of North Florissant. Now, there had been trouble up there before. But what was going on with Daryl Ross? Can you bring that story up? You got it?
Yes, sir. I can bring it up for you here.
So, now, these two officers, they weren't on private duty. This wasn't private duty. This was public duty. These are St. Louis City police officers on duty working for the city. Now, here they claim that there's some activity going on at the service station where people are walking around with guns. So now, where are you seeing that, and who told you about that? So then they drive up on the service station, or they arrive at the service station, and supposedly they claim that they see young Mr. Ross with a gun, so they say. And they say Mr. Ross then walks across around the corner or to an alley, and they following him. Oh, let me back up. They claim they're in a plain car, but they have plain clothes on, but they have vests on that say police on the front and the back. So when Mr. Ross leaves to go around into the alley, they follow him. And they wait till they get around to the alley, and then they identify themselves as police. It's their story that Mr. Ross breaks off and starts running. And he trips and falls. He drops his gun and trips and falls. Now, one of the things I know, that if you're running and you drop something, you're about 5 or 6 steps away from that object when you try to go back and get it. But Ross is on the ground. He's not still. He tripped, but he dropped his weapon, so they say, and he fell. So now while he's dropping the weapon and then he's tripping and he falls, so how many feet did he make it before he actually fell? And the gun, where did the gun drop? It does not drop at the same place you fall. That's for sure.
Now, what his mom said here in the article, because when they turned my baby over, the gun was still right here. She said, tapping her waistband. They killed my baby. They could have grabbed him. He never pulled the gun out, is what mom is saying in the article.
Well, more on that later. We got to go to a break. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600 AM. Keep it on lock. Hallelujah.
Quit playing.
Back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. We've been talking about young Mr. Ross, Daryl Ross, 16 years old, shot and killed at the Shell gas station at 2800 block of North Florissant. Where's the video? Yeah. Where is the video? And if it exists, why hasn't it been released? What you doing with it? What are you doing with the video?
And that's the question.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, what good does it serve them holding on to it? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's video. Make a copy of it and release it. Everybody wants to see it. You know his family wants to see it. Give it to his family. They're entitled to see it. And concerned citizens are entitled to see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it plays out the same way the police officer said it did. Huh?
That is the question.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think that the situation is very fluid. Information is still coming in, and we're going to do what you recommended earlier. Let's let them continue to give us the evidence so we can.
We already got two versions.
We have two
The
versions.
police say he tripped, dropped the gun, and then fell.
Yeah.
Mama saying he still had the gun on him. So if he had the gun on him, when did the police see it? Back at the filling station? Did the police see him holding a gun in his hand? And the video ought to show that. Huh? Is he walking around on the filling station lot with a weapon? The video ought to show that. When he walks away and he goes across the street or goes to the alley, did he have a weapon in his hand? The video ought to show that. But they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let us see the video. Like my dad used to say, unass it. Yeah. Let it go. We want to see the video. And I heard that the family and the other friends and supporters have been protesting over at the police department.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with the other story, but to my understanding, this was the second involved shooting with the police. Another one, I want to say earlier this week, in Hodemont area, and I'll see if I can pull that information up, and we could talk about it next week. But that's what the protest was about. It was in reference to this shooting, and then there was another police-involved shooting. So yeah, they were out protesting in front of the police station earlier this week, and we'll make sure we get someone in to kind of cover these stories for us.
Well, they seem to have cameras up here at this Shell station, 2800 block of North Florissant. They got video that they won't release or have failed to release. Let's say that. But see, that dovetails right on perfectly to where is this story at? Somebody, there has been a lawsuit filed. There has been a lawsuit filed. Mm-hmm. A lawsuit filed against the city of St. Louis on failure to release public information. The lawyer for the people that filed a lawsuit says that the city of St. Louis has the worst record in the worst record in the state of Missouri as it relates to releasing information. Mm-hmm. Now, we have a black mayor, and we have a black comptroller. Mm-hmm. We have a black police chief. We have a black public safety director. We have a black sheriff. And we have a black prosecutor. Mm-hmm. We have more black people in this damn thing than ever before. More black people holding office than ever before. Why can't we get information?
And then we have the Division of Civilian Oversight Board.
Well, what the hell?
Yeah, we have them. So, yeah, it should be
So
something.
much for that. Where is the information? See if you can find that article that guy sued the city on failure to provide the information. This is a front page story above the fold. It's a front page story above the fold. Mm-hmm. A front page story above the fold. We only got about 4 minutes. I'd like to be able to find some information where this guy, the lawsuit is 136 pages long. He loaded this boy up. It's 136 pages long. I mean, how many counts, C-O-U-N-T, how many counts are contained in this document? He must have one hell of a narrative in this, which means he's painting by dots. He's giving details of instances in which the city of St. Louis has refused time and time again to release information. What is the problem? What is the problem? I can't understand it. Help me. This is information that you are supposed to have readily available to you. It's freedom of information. That's why we have the Freedom of Information Act. It's freedom of information. And you progressive people and other characters use the word transparency. Well, what the hell about that?
Is it sunshine law violation?
Sunshine? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
freedom of information, the Sunshine Law. What is that? Is that the art? Okay.
I believe this is it.
Civil rights attorney, let's go back. Civil rights attorney sued St. Louis over sunshine law violations. Bring the story up.
Here it is. Mayor Tashara Jones
We don't want to talk about that.
ran on a promise.
Lawyer's name is
Eli Gross.
Eli Gross. He filed a lawsuit. He said, I'm tired. I've been fooling around with these people for too long. Been asking for information. Takes a lot for a lawyer to draft a lawsuit to sue somebody for failure to provide information. Generally, you send the people a letter and ask for the information. They don't answer or taking too slow. You send a letter that's titled second request. Or sometimes you even send a third request asking for the information. People trying to be patient, trying to work with them. But for him to go this far and file a lawsuit, that means he's fed up. And the people that he's representing is fed up.
Yeah. And apparently,
So where is
something
the
he did.
information? What does it say?
It says the lawsuit was filed. He filed a lawsuit back in 2020, Democratic Party primary for Missouri Attorney General last year, and won a major sunshine law case at the Missouri Supreme Court after he sued Missouri Governor Mike Parson administration for overcharging for public records. Now, this particular article also talk about the 273-page lawsuit.
I'm sorry, people. The lawsuit is 273 pages long.
Said that the lawsuit, I don't want to name people, saying they have established a system by which they regularly violate Missouri's sunshine law and use public funding to deny the public access
Talking about
to
the
public
city.
records. Yeah.
And then they request unreasonable amounts to release the information. Like a page, charge you $2 a page or $1 a page. What's up with that? Give out the information. Give it up. It's just sitting there. Well, and see, what happens is we get to the point where we ask the question, what are you hiding? It's going to come out eventually. What are you hiding? What are you hiding?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you hiding? Oh, I'm out of
It's saying
time.
that they're-
Right
okay.
now, I'm out of time.
We'll talk about it next
gotta
week.
Go. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. Keep it on lock. Quit playing.
Quit playing.